Welcome to what is possibly the anti-penultimate 4020 Monday morning wrap-up podcast of 2019. Unless we do the internationals, I don't know, I haven't decided yet. Let's start in the Championship and League One, because we know who'll be playing in the various promotion finals next week. Oldham will host Newcastle Thunder, who blew away Doncaster 34 points to 4, which gives the RFL's video department a bit of trouble because they spent all week using videos of Rangy Chase to promote this game, and now he won't be playing in the final unless you can somehow squeeze him in. So Oldham and Newcastle will play for a place in the Championship and playing for a place in the Super League. Well, we knew Toronto were there, and they will take on, would you believe it, Featherstone Rovers, who beat quite convincingly Toulouse Olympique by 36 points to 12 in the south of France. So Featherstone at Toronto, Oldham versus Newcastle next week's playoff deciders. The Toronto Featherstone game on Saturday night. I believe Newcastle at Oldham will be on Sunday, but I'm not 100% sure. I know what will be on Sunday, and that is the Women's Super League semi-final, or I think it will be. You watch, by the time you've heard this, I've got this completely wrong. We know the semi-finals anyway. It's Castleford versus Wigan and St Helens versus Leeds. We knew that before this weekend's fixtures. Now, there were supposed to be 4 games, but in the end there weren't, because Bradford versus York was called off due to a waterlogged pitch. The weather doesn't affect the people of Featherstone and Wakefield. They just get on with it, and they did. Featherstone beating Wakefield 26 points to 0. So Featherstone finished the season in 5th and only a point behind the playoffs, because Wigan were beaten 16-0 by Leeds in a repeat of last year's grand final, and could still be a repeat of this year's. And St Helens beat Castleford 20 points to 14, ending Castleford's hopes of an unbeaten season in the Women's Super League, and meaning that St Helens, who've gone under the radar somewhat, finished just a point behind Cass in 2nd place. I think they'll meet again in the grand final. We'll know by this point next week whether they will or not. We still don't know who will be in the Super League grand final. Well, we know one of the teams. We'll talk about St Helens in a moment. But first, let's talk about the Salford Red Devils. There were plenty of nils this weekend, wasn't there? We just talked about a couple of nils in the Women's Super League, and there was in the men's as well, because the Salford Red Devils obliterated the Castleford Tigers. Well, the Tigers fans turned up in their numbers. What's it, 1,200 or so turned up at the AJ Bell Stadium on Thursday, but sadly for them, their team appeared not to do. 22-0 to the Salford Red Devils. Let's hear from their coach, Ian Watson.
I thought it was outstanding. I thought they were really, really good. Real professional performance. We spoke just before the game, obviously, because it started to rain, because it had been dry all day, and it started to rain, so we just spoke about a few little things, and I thought the boys went out and nailed it. We just got a little bit sloppy after about 20-25 minutes where we started to force the offload, but Niall come up with a great try-saving tackle, and then from there I kind of think we refocused and got back on it.
Obviously after last week's heroics, were you worried that the boys wouldn't reach the level again, but they did, didn't they?
No, they've been pretty consistent. We look probably back to the Leeds game. We spoke then about how we wanted to make that an arm wrestle, because we knew at that point we were going to be in the playoffs. Obviously we just didn't know where, but we wanted to make sure that we turned it into a mentality game, so where it was going set for set, and we had to do a lot of defending in that game as well, and Leeds threw a lot of hours, and the same happened again against Hull KR here, and it turned into a 1-point game, which was great kind of preparation for the playoffs. And then obviously the Wigan game last week, I thought was outstanding in that. I thought we was unlucky not to win that game as well, so we've been playing that way for a number of weeks now, and we've got that mentality and that bit between our teeth that we have a belief we can win playoff games.
Can Salford dreaming of that Old Trafford stage yet?
We'll worry about next week first. See who we get after tomorrow. Take one game at a time. That's what we've kind of built the season on, and we took one game as it comes, and we don't need to look any further past Wigan or St Helens next week.
If you had to pick one, who would you prefer to play?
Not bothered. Not bothered. Yeah, not bothered.
You said last week that you didn't watch the game, and you're going to watch it tomorrow night.
Yeah, apparently I'm winning coaches to go on Sky Sports tomorrow.
Oh, right.
Find a shirt or something. So we'll have a good watch.
Ian, couldn't have got much more perfect than Jacko going in just before the end.
Yeah, it was a good farewell for him at the AJ Bell, but hopefully there's a dream farewell for him to come yet in a couple of weeks.
Ian, soccer fans are singing your name. Do you have anything you'd like to say to them? Big part tonight, usually in the defence.
they've been outstanding. The supporters know what we've spoke about this year, and they've been outstanding, especially when we've been away from home. The numbers we've took this year, I mean, people have always said about like teams being good for Super League and teams not being good for Super League, and people questioned obviously Salford at the beginning of the season didn't see the benefit of potentially having us in the league. But the support base we've took away from home this year, we've been loud every single game we've been at. They've been an absolute credit to us. I know we had one little error with a flare at kind of Leeds, but overall they've been outstanding. And then today they packed it out. Today I was really kind of proud that everyone kind of came out today because we knew what Cass were bringing. Cass had really talked it up and kind of give 3 buses on. But to pack the shed out was massive for us today as well.
Last one for me, obviously you're keeping your feet on the ground, but how are you going to do it with the rest of the squad?
For the rest of the squad, yeah, mate, they're not a problem. They're not, but I'll be dead honest with you, this is a good group. It's a good group of players who kind of know what they want to achieve and will do the best to get there.
By this point next week, of course, we may already know if he is the Coach of the Year, as the Super League Awards are next Sunday. And now also at the game, well, Mark Wilson, he gets everywhere these days, and the one and only, the king of the interceptions, king of CFAX, the king of Belle Isle, well, you know, it's Gary Schofield.
Salford through to the next round of the playoffs. They have won 22 points to 0 against the Castleford Tigers, as the steward just tries to get past us there. Hope didn't get in the way too much. 22-0 Salford, full value legend for that win. Cass not good enough, but let's not take anything away from Salford. They started quick and fully deserved the win.
Fully deserved, and I say when you look at the performance for the full 80 minutes, certainly in that first half, Castleford, you know, just a couple of mistakes, a little bit of indiscipline, but you keep inviting a quality side into your own half, into your own 22, you're going to get punished, and that's exactly what Salford did. And all right, you know, that second try maybe a little bit dubious from there. Darryl Powell will be asking questions from there, but still, Salford took the opportunities when they came from there. And I say when you got the best man in the league so far at this moment in time, I say Jackson Hastings, you are going to get punished.
You are indeed. How fitting was it that he got the game deciding try in the second half?
Well, it just justifies, doesn't it? Because you know, Salford in that second half, they were just a little bit conservative with you know, maybe had to put the cue on the rack and they knew they had the game, because Castleford wasn't throwing anything at them, were they? You know, if I'm honest with you, the forwards at Castleford got themselves in good field position, but the halfbacks themselves in Truman and Metalti are just literally clueless. Max Shane didn't have his best game, certainly, in an attacking option point of view from there. But yeah, Jackson Hastings, only a couple of times they got into Castleford's 22, but when they did, they punished Cass, and the best player on the field certainly deserved to get the last try.
What do you make of Salford? I mean, look, we've been writing them off forever, it seems, done it this season, and yet they still keep winning. 80 minutes away from a grand final. I mean, just put that into how would you describe that? This team being 80 minutes away from Old Trafford.
Well, to be honest with you, it's ridiculous, isn't it? It's ridiculous if I'm honest with you from there, because before the season started we was all saying, well, they're going to be in the bottom 4, they're going to be challenging for the bottom there with the London Broncos. But when you look at this Salford side, you know, it's a side where nobody else wanted. All these players, everybody rejected them from there, so you've got to give massive credit to the players themselves, from the attitude what they show week in and week out, the desire to put that jersey on week in and week out, the desire to do the job what they're there to do as an individual, then as a team collectively coming as a team and playing as a team, and also too as well with the coach, what Ian Watson gets out of these players. You know, he gets the best out of the ability, as I've mentioned, as individuals, but as a team collectively, they want to play as a team. As we keep saying, there's no eyeing team. There is certainly no eyeing team in the Salford side, and you add that with a bit of extra quality in Jackson Hastings, you have got a very, very well balanced side.
You have indeed. Just a word for Niall Evans at 12-0. He made an unbelievable tackle on Jordan Rankin right over in the far corner, and was that the moment that Castleford's hopes went? What a tackle, by the way.
Oh, sensational. You know what, it was Rugby League at his best, wasn't it? You know, 70 metres out, a full-back making a break, and he pinned his ears back. He thought he was going for the 4 points of the corner from there, but Niall Evans, well, what a quality player he's come, hasn't he? Not just by bringing the ball away as well from when they put the kicks down from there and making good yards, but his field position and his positioning is sensational. Big game changer, massive game changer, because I'm sure that would have got Castleford back into the game. It didn't. But as I say, Salford throughout the full 80 minutes fully deserved that. And I tell you what, Mark, we sat here now thinking, Salford 80 minutes away from Old Trafford. The question is, does Salford fancy it? I'll give the answer to that now. Salford fancy it, don't worry about that.
All right, we'll have a chat about who they might play given the result tomorrow night. Let's talk about Castleford. Look, widely expected that Luke Gale is going to be announced as a Leeds player imminently. That is, we believe, going to happen in the next possibly 24 hours, maybe over the weekend. They need a halfback desperately because their creativity tonight, and you know, we've praised Jake Truman when he's been good, but there were times tonight he went missing.
Clueless, absolutely clueless, and didn't get any help from Metalci from there. And hey, listen, I keep happening myself, you know, being a halfback, that I'm the chairman of the Halfback Society from there, and I will stick up for all halfbacks. But again, tonight, you can Truman, Metalci, I can't defend them. You know, just literally clueless. The forwards got themselves in plenty of good field position from there, but no variation. Again, Truman playing far too close to the ruck area, and as I pointed out tonight, Truman at times was just literally holding hands with Paul McShane. What is he doing around there? He should be 20-25 metres away from the ruck area, organising, giving good service to second rowers and the outside backs from there, but absolutely nothing. The important thing for Castleford now is to making sure that, they do need another quality half-back to help Truman out from there. The recruitment, they need quality. You know, they've got George Griffin coming from Salford. He'll add plenty of quality, certainly in the back row for me, but certainly they need at least 4 or 5 quality players if they want to keep themselves getting back into that top 5.
Where do you feel Castleford are? And obviously the season is over tonight. They're out of the competition. But where do you feel they are in respect to, you know, 2017 they were grand finalists. They were by far and away the best team in the competition. They look a long way off that at the minute. Yeah,
they do. And I say it was massive disappointment, as we all know, in 17, and the circumstances from there. Last year they got themselves in the 5, but you never felt as though that they were going to repeat and get themselves back to Old Trafford. And this year, well, you know, again, it's been a season like most teams, inconsistency. But for the last 7 games, Dalla wanted 7 from 7, didn't get that. He got 4 from 7, but they got themselves in the 5. You know, good performance against Warrington last week. A very poor Warrington side, you would have to say, from there. But no, Castleford got themselves where they want to get to. But are they going to be challenging anywhere near getting to Old Trafford at this moment in time? They're a mile off.
Yeah, they are indeed. We've just seen Jackson Hastings still doing his press commitments as he goes down the tunnel. I mean, just a word for him. He's surely got to be man of steel, hasn't he?
Well, it's got to be, you know, and I know myself being on the panel from there, and you know, give him a few points myself, but also as well the big situation with Jackson Hastings, and let's say. People say, well, what are you staying at Salford for? Well, nobody wanted him in the RL. Salford gave him that opportunity, and we don't see loyalty a lot in sport nowadays, do we? And he said, hey, listen, Salford has given me an opportunity to prove myself again as a rugby league player. So he said, I'm giving him another 12 months. But Jackson knew that he was going to move on because all the big clubs were coming from there. Leeds were in for him, and I say, but Wigan have got that signature. And what the great thing about Jackson Hastings is his attitude towards this club, and that when he signed for Wigan, he just quite simply said, I'm not interested in Wigan. I'm not a Wigan player until 2020. Well, that just shows you the professionalism of the guy, doesn't it? It just shows you the desire, what he wants to achieve for this Salford side, because these players, all of these players and the coaching staff as well, they're 80 minutes away from creating history for themselves. This Salford club have been anywhere near the top of the league since the great days of Di Watkins and Keith Fielding and Colin Dixon, and just to mention a few from there. So these fellas are 80 minutes away from creating history. But Jackson Hastings, he's just been the total professional. What you expect from professional sport. We don't get it from too many, to be honest with you, from there. But I tell you what, he'll be looking forward, wherever he goes next week, whether it's Wigan or St Helens, he will be looking forward to that challenge.
And we know now that Salford, in the final eliminator, or whatever they call it these days, will take on the Wigan Warriors, because the defending champions were beaten by St Helens fairly comfortably on Friday night, 40 points to 10. Here's the Saints coach, Justin Holbrook.
Yeah, I thought we were good the whole first half. I thought we had great preparation going into the game. I was really clear and confident. But you know, in the end, the boys have got to go out and play that way, and they did. It was a fantastic win tonight.
What was key, that early defence, forcing them to kick on the back foot and then taking your chances when they can?
Yeah, I just think our overall game was great. You know, I think we showed what we're capable of tonight and did a great job of that. So, you know, really happy to get a dominant win.
Your forwards are pretty relentless taking it forward, but your outside backs took it in pretty hard as well, didn't they?
Yeah, I think everybody played well tonight, which was great. You know, Wigan have been playing well, as everybody's been saying, so it was up to us to to play well, to show how we can play, and then we did that tonight, which was great.
Is that the best you've ended your sets as well in terms of your kicking as well?
Yeah, I thought everything was good. Yeah, I thought the way we set the whole setup was great, and a lot of great kicks in, especially in that first half. Second half obviously got a bit sloppy with some play the balls and a couple of kicks dead and things like that. But you're not going to play a perfect game. But that first half was as good as we played.
Probably the biggest game the club's won since winning it in 2014. Does that feel like a bit of a monkey off the back for some of them lads?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I think we all know we've got another game to go, and that's the one that matters the most. So, while we're happy with the way we played, I was just really happy how well we played at home this year. I know coming into last year's semi-final against Warrington, I actually thought we'll probably play better if we played them at Warrington, and unfortunately we weren't good enough. But this year I was really this is the most relaxed I've ever been coming to a game, knowing the work we've done and how we wanted to play, and for the boys to execute that was brilliant to watch, and it's capped off a perfect home record. Every game at home to win is not easy to do, and we did it in great fashion tonight, so it makes it even better.
Monster efforts from Luke Thompson and Morgan Rose particularly in that first half.
Yep.
It was a near perfect display from the ball.
Yeah, they were fantastic for us. I think everybody was fantastic. They all knew what they had to do, and they all went out and did it. So it was credit to them.
Everyone was looking at how the week off would impact you in terms of having a break while everyone else was playing. You'll be glad you get another one now, won't you, after that?
Yeah, the way it panned out. Yeah, but I knew we needed a week off. I was that confident in it because of getting to the Challenge Cup final. If you don't get there, then what other teams, they realise it, but what other fans don't realise is that teams get weeks off. If you're not in the Challenge Cup final, they're your weeks off, a semi-final or a quarter-final. So when you play in the Challenge Cup final, you play every single week. So I could tell the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks of the comp that we were desperate for a week off, and we got the mix right with the performance staff, a couple of days to freshen up, and then some hard training and some alternate activities. So as I said, I thought we come here tonight. I felt the preparation was fantastic and everything we've done, and but in the end, you think you got it right, you got to perform when it matters, and the players did that. So it was great to watch.
Have you any preference who you play in the final?
Oh no, I think Wigan will be wounded after tonight, and they'll bounce back, and then Salford are playing really well. So I think it'll be another. We saw a great game from them both last week. We'll probably see that again next week.
You try not to make it about yourself, Justin, but your final game here, has it been an emotional night? What's it been like for you?
Yeah, not really, only because I know the season hasn't finished. So when it does, if we're good enough, we play good enough at Old Trafford and win, then I'll be as emotional as anybody. But right now, it was still hard, knowing it's the last home game. But it's also a happy feeling because it would have been worse if we were playing again next week. So I'm fine, and we're all in a good place, but we've got to play well again.
Another week off for Saints. They can book their places at Old Trafford, their fans. They can make lots of merchandise and lots of money. But who will they be playing, Wigan or Salford? We'll find out on Friday night when those two teams meet once again at the DW Stadium. That's it. The game's running out now. There's not much left. Congratulations to Warrington Wolves. They beat Wakefield in the PDRL Grand Final on Finals Day in Selby. Apparently I've got a bit of a Selby accent. I don't know if you can pick that up. I don't know. We'll be talking more Rugby League, of course, Monday night from 6 live on Facebook. Don't forget, we'll be live in Castleford on the week of the Grand Final. More details of that to come as well. Join us from 6 for 4020 live. Scully will be there talking about interceptions. I've got a great one to show him from the Featherstone and Wakefield women's game as well. I'm sure they'll enjoy that. And much, much more besides as we look back at all the exciting transfer news which has now started to be released. But still not Luke Gale. When are Leeds going to announce him? Because we all know he's going, don't we?